Hello, how are you doing? My name is Joseph Googie, and this is
How you doing, guys? Casey Coleman. Welcome to the Pre-PT Chat.
welcome. This is the Pre-PT Chat, and we are both the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, where we help pre-physical therapy students get into physical therapy school without wasting time or money. Every single Thursday night, we come on live to talk about real topics for pre-physical therapy students, questions by pre-physical therapy students to make sure that you are, receiving everything that you really need to succeed and thrive in this amazing journey towards becoming physical therapists. It's an amazing profession. And because of that, we have chosen to pour into you as a pre-PT. We have chosen to pour into everything that you're about, your mission, your passions, and more. And tonight's topic is a very relevant one. A very relevant one. We've spoken on something similar to this before, but not in this way. Quite recently, there was a conversation that essentially, really laid the groundwork for this and what we're going to talk about tonight. But our topic tonight is, what do I do when I am drowning as a pre-physical therapy student? What do I do when I am drowning as a pre-physical therapy student? And honestly, so let's define drowning. Let's define drowning. Obviously, we know what that means, when pertaining to water. But drowning feels as though you're just being so consumed by something that you almost don't feel like you have any room to breathe or have no idea what to do next. And so for a lot of pre-PTs, that does vary. It does vary. So let's go through a few examples. As a pre-PT, you could be drowning by, academic drowning, where you feel so consumed and overwhelmed by what you are experiencing in your current classes or the application process. You feel like you have so many schools to choose from. You feel like so many things are not going your way, whether it's, in the submission process, you feel as though, man, like I'm trying to get these things lined up, but, I'm not having, the therapists that need to, submit their, their letters of recommendation or, to clear my hours. These things are just not working out. I feel like I'm drowning, academic drowning, right? That's one aspect of drowning where you just feel as though you're just like fighting, trying everything you can to just pour into it, but you just feel like you're drowning. If that's you, if you've been in that situation, I want you to comment me. Whether you're watching live or on replay, I want you to comment me. Then there's another type of drowning. This drowning happens a little earlier in the journey. Sometimes it happens while you're applying. This is when you are battling against different types of advice. And now what that looks like is, like on the one hand, there is, my close friends who are telling me that I should be doing A, B, C, D. My close friends who are telling me, hey, this is what I've been working on. This is what I've been doing to make sure that I'm getting into PT school. So this is what you have to do. There's advice coming from other clinicians saying, hey, this is what you need to do because it's what I did and it worked. So you have to do it. Then there's advice coming from family members who love us, who have a lot of, just like they want to see us do well. Close relatives, close friends, people that just love us and want to do everything in their power to make sure that we receive everything we need to do well. So there is that time. But now we get overwhelmed. Now we feel like we are drowning based on advice or information. So we don't even know who to listen to anymore. That last drowning is actually the birth of what is now pre-PT grind. I had way too many classmates at the time that I was a sophomore that were just drowning from that. They were drowning from the fact that they were being told one thing by their PT advisor, another thing by their family members, another thing by PT students that had already gotten into PT school, another thing by other people that had nothing to do with the profession, maybe a professor and so on and so forth, to the point where some of them either pulled the plug or were told to do it. And so I fully recognize, and Casey fully recognizes that right now there are a lot of different avenues of information, whether it's online, whether it's on the websites for a PT program, whether it's in different forums. Everyone has advice. That's why it's one of the freest things you can ever get from anybody is advice. We all have it to give. I can give you advice on, shoot, if I didn't know anything about soccer, I could still give you advice on whether your kick looks like it sucked or not. I don't know nothing about the game, but I can give it to you because I have an opinion, right? If I didn't know anything about like sales, or I didn't know anything about playing cards or whatever, I can give you advice. But at the end of the day, does it really matter if I don't understand it? No. So now we have to ask ourselves, we have those different types of drownings that we're talking about. And they're the ones that are actually limiting a lot of pre-PTs from ever fully getting across the finish line. Because if I can't figure out where I'm going, if I can't narrow down what voice I'm listening to and find the right one for me, then I'm either going to just keep moving in different directions based on who's talking to me at that given moment, or I'm going to do nothing about it, because sometimes, well, being overwhelmed leads to indecision, which means being overwhelmed leads to me not doing anything or just being paralyzed, right? Where you're just like, shoot, there's so much stimulus. I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to do nothing until I figure it out. And so what ends up happening is that starts becoming the avenue that most pre-PTs are going through. And honestly, like it sucks. It sucks. It sucks to feel that. It sucks to feel like you really can't go to anybody or you really can't figure it out. And it's confusing too when you just don't know how to best, just like handle certain situations, how to best handle applications, how to best handle what schools to apply to, how to best handle like how to handle failures, right? I mean, like who listening has ever, not passed their GRE? Like who listening has ever, not gotten accepted into a program, not passed a class? And then you start thinking to yourself, well, shoot, well, I was told such and such by my family member. Well, maybe they're right. Maybe I should pull the plug. Maybe I shouldn't apply to PT school. It's drowning. You can't breathe. I'll tell you right now that if you don't figure out how to navigate this whole job, which is what we're about to talk about, is how, like, what to do when I am drowning. If we can't figure it out, if we can't figure out what to do when we are drowning as pre-physical therapy students, applying and really, trying to get into one of the greatest professions that I believe is in existence right now, then honestly, there will be many pre-PTs that hold themselves back from ever getting in, from ever having a chance to get into the profession. I just had a call with the pre-PT about 30 minutes ago who told me, she was like, Joseph, there's a few things I'm going through right now, but I can honestly tell you that I really don't see myself going any other direction. If I picked any other profession and I got into it, I can honestly tell you right now, I'd immediately regret it, because I feel like I'm shortcutting myself. And a lot of people don't have that level of necessity for physical therapy, but maybe you do, and you just like maybe silence it or try to tell yourself, no, maybe this is the safer route. Maybe I wasn't meant for PT. If you want it, go get it. But Casey, how do we handle it? Like, what do we do when we are drowning? We just hit a few different, definitions for drowning for a pre-PT. How do we handle that? What do we do when we are drowning as pre-PT students?
Yeah, and whether you're watching this on replay or live, and you can put this down in the comments or just write it down for yourself. Ask yourself, like, what are you drowning in? We talked about that, just a few minutes ago. Talked about, all the PT cast stuff, other people. Do an audit for yourself and try to understand you yourself. What are you drowning in? So that's number one. Then the next is, I was actually a certified lifeguard from 2014 to 16.
Yeah.
It was a class, at Andrews University. Took it. I thought it was going to be an easy little, PE credit, whatever we had to do. It was a rough class. To get that certificate, they really make sure you know how to save somebody. So one of the biggest things that, goes along with this topic today is one of the things we learned as a lifeguard is one of the worst things you can do when you're drowning, when you're saving someone, is panic. A lot of you might be panicking right now. So one of the worst things you can do when you feel like you're drowning, whether literal drowning, what we learned in lifeguarding class, or with homework, GPA, GRE, observation hours, is to panic. It's the worst thing you can do, because what are you doing when you're panicking? You're using up your energy stores. You're using up your oxygen in an inefficient way. And in regards to this whole PT CAS application, PT school application, you're using up inefficiently valuable time in an inefficient way. So in reality, when you're drowning in water, when you panic, you're using up your oxygen stores. In relation to this PT-CAS journey or this pre-PT school journey, you're using up valuable time. When you're panicking, you're using that time to panic when you can be using it to finish whatever you have to do, to send those emails, to take some time for yourself, to spend time with your family, to write that essay. You're using up valuable resources when you're panicking about drowning. So you have to figure out what you're drowning in. Have you guys ever seen those funny videos when somebody's drowning and all they had to do was stand up?
Yeah.
You have to figure out if you're drowning in 3 feet of water or if you're really, if this is really, truly something you have to take into consideration. Because I feel like a lot of you might be drowning in just 3 feet of water.
Yes, sir.
I'm not discounting what you're going through because we've been through it before. But being on the other side, it's I don't want to say it's not that big a deal because it is. It's very real. You have to go through these things, but you have to audit yourself. That's why I started with that. Figure out what you're drowning in. Is it really just, man, I got some essays to do and I just wasn't efficient with my time. And now I feel like I'm drowning, but really all I got to do is stand up, write those essays and move on.
Yep.
So you got to figure out what you're drowning in, then figure out if you just have to stand up or if you really have to swim. Or if you need to ask someone for help. That's why we're here. That's why you can reach out to other people. So those are some big things there. Then if you're in PT school currently, I got a message last night about somebody who's feeling overwhelmed, who's in their first year of PT school right now. If you're feeling overwhelmed right now, you have to do the same thing and realize a year before that you wanted this so bad. You were in our group. You were calling us, you were messaging us like, man, if I could just get into PT school, I would do everything. Well, now you're here. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to stand up or are you going to swim? Or are you just going to cop out and fail out like other people have? So those are things you have to take into consideration. If you feel like you're drowning, write it down. You know, what really is it? Is it really your fault? Is it things you can't control? Then after that, what do you do then? You got to either stand up or swim. So that's my 2 takes on it, 2 cents on it, just from my, lifeguarding experience, that little analogy there.
Yeah. And I love it. And so the question is tonight, are you drowning? Are you drowning as a pre-physical therapy student? Cool. Now that you've answered that question, and I want you can either answer it, in the comments, or you can answer it to yourself. But are you drowning? But even better, what Casey just said, are you drowning in the deep end, or are you drowning in 2 or 3 feet of water? Understand that, and understand that even as you're drowning, let's say it's informational drowning, what's your next course of action? What's it going to be? Because obviously, if I realize that I'm drowning in 3 feet of water, well, my next course of action is not to keep drowning. Clearly, I can do something about it. I'm gonna stand up. So if you're drowning in just the overwhelming process of just having so many people just feed you intel or information, whether it's family or friends or colleagues, or okay, figure out one, who's actually where I'm trying to go. Can we figure that out first? Because to be honest with you, I don't mean this to sound disrespectfully, but really, if you're getting advice on a journey, you should be getting it from someone that's already gotten to where you're trying to go. If I'm trying to get to the NBA, I'm not going to get advice on someone that knows nothing about the NBA or has never been to and is only a fan. Does that make sense? I'm going to get some advice from either an NBA coach or an NBA player. Actually, no. Better yet, an NBA player, because they actually understand the process of how to get there or what they did. I can better understand the story. And honestly, I might listen to it and be like, yo, listen, I'm not that dedicated. So now I realize what it takes. It's not my fight. Or you might realize, oh, wow, okay, I can do that. Let me actually put in that effort and see what happens. But you have to figure out, who am I listening to? Am I drowning? Can I actually control that? Can I stand in that water? Can I figure out who to listen to? This is now what you would call a mentor, right? Can I find somebody that emulates everything that I am trying to be? And if I can figure that out, Now, I'm not talking just the fact they're a physical therapist. Look at how they love their job. If they hate it, well, clearly that's not exactly what you, now, if you want to be a PT that doesn't like their job, okay, do you, but that's not the case for most pre-PTs. We want to be satisfied with our careers. We want to feel as though we did right by our families, by ourselves, and so on. And so you really want to identify and find out who is where I am striving to be. And if you can identify that, then go for that person. Look for them. Ask them questions. Interview them. Take your stand up out of the water. Stop drowning in 3 feet of water. If it's academic, figure out like what is it about this process that's overwhelming me? Is it the fact that I'm paying too much attention to everybody else rather than myself? Or am I really just confused and I still need to find that person that's actually been through this before? Whatever it is, you don't need to drown as a pre-PT. Drowning as a pre-PT at this point, well, at least if you've listened to this, it's a choice now. It's a choice now. And so whereas it might feel like it's out of your control, it's actually now fully in your control. Do something about it. Stand in the water. It's only 3 feet deep. All right. And so once you figure that out, then make that move, whether that's reaching out to us because we are where you're wanting to go, whether it's reaching out to someone locally that is there, whether it's reaching out to someone virtually who is there, make that happen. But that has to be your question. Who has my point B? If I'm at point A, who has my point B? And if they don't have your point B, to be honest, you really don't have any business listening to them about that process. They don't know anything about it. All they have is an opinion. Does that make sense? Yes, Gabby Mace, you're in control. And so that's it. If you can figure that out, then you'll start realizing that, feels like I'm drowning, but in reality, I don't need to be. At this point, if you're still drowning after this, you're choosing to be drowning. All right. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you on the next Pre-PT Chat Live. Reach out to us at contactpreptgrind.com if you have any questions. If you're like, okay.
All right, we got a question.
Yeah. Is there any sense of drowning or pressure after graduating PT school when you're on your first day on the job? Is there any sense of drowning or pressure?
Do you feel like you're drowning after you're done?
Well, okay, so that's a really good question. So initially, when you're going into any new area, you're always gonna feel like it's foreign to you, right? So when I played basketball in high school, my first day of practice, I nearly vomited. All right. Now, was I nearly vomiting all season long? No. But when I realized that I had not conditioned myself over summer and got to my first day of basketball practice, and coach was having us run 2 miles before we even touched the basketball and did drills and everything. And just, I was out of shape. Like if y'all saw somebody go into Joseph's, like go look at my Facebook page. I'm giving you permission to creep on me right now. Go into my you already know. Go into my Facebook page and just type in Joseph Ngugi, JOSESNGUGI. It's right below the screen. And I want you to actually go into like my profile pictures, go into my cover photos, just scroll back. You'll see how Chub Joseph was. And so that was me like now I got in shape real quick, right? But at the same time, I had to realize like that was what it was going to be the first time because it was foreign to me. So that is just a transition process. First day of high school is pretty tough. First day of college, well, unless they eased you in, it was pretty tough. First day of PT school. Like I got into PT school. My first day, I was like, "Yo, what did I sign up for?" I was like, "Shoot, this ain't college anymore. This is the big kids now, right?" But I got acclimated to it, and so did Casey, and so will you. And so, if it's your first day of being a PT, okay, like don't get stressed by that. That feeling of just kind of like being very, very clouded and just not understanding, how things will flow. That's just a natural process of just doing that, but everything will slow down for you. The more effort you put into it, you might have to put in more work. Obviously, you want to communicate better. You want to reach out to all the people locally. It's the same concept. You still got to figure out who has your point B. If you're drowning, then okay, so you're drowning. Fine. How do I get out of it? For me, how I did it, because right now I'd say I'm pretty confident as a clinician. I had to find people locally that were at my point B. And I had to learn. And I was watching it. I was like, okay, that's the kind of PT I want to be. I see that level of confidence. I see how much they care for that person. I see how they direct the court. Okay, cool. That's what I want to be. And so I emulated someone in particular locally. And that's how now, as the clinic director where I am, that's how I carry things out based on what I saw. It's the same thing. Whenever we're drowning, we're usually only drowning 3 feet deep, even as a new grad physical therapist, even as a pre-PT, even as a student who is in their first day of PT school. It's only ever 3 feet deep. And so once you realize that, the faster you can find the person who has your point B, the faster you can figure out what that point B even looks like, the better for you.
And if you've seen those videos before, you know, the people drowning in the 3 feet of water, and you see them slip in and they can't find anything to hold on to. And in this analogy, you can just try, you know, being grateful for what you have. If you can't reach, if you can't, you know, see anybody there to help you, if you need something to hold on to your gratitude. I know it sounds cliche, but in all honesty, even now, like once I start working in like a week or two, I'm just going to be, even if I feel like I'm drowning, I'm just going to be so grateful that I'm going to be getting a paycheck, that these patients are coming to see me, that somebody even offered me a job, that I got through PT school, even where you are right now. Hey, be grateful that you have a laptop to apply to PT school for, that you can sign a waiver, even if you're struggling financially. If not, you got the money to apply to PT school, that you have resources online to help you. If you feel like you're drowning, reach out, use your own gratitude. Be grateful for what you already have. And that will help you catch your footing. That will help you grab onto something, because it is so real. Once you make that mind switch, be like, man, okay, yeah, I got a lot of stuff to do. Yeah. But even if I'm in PT school right now, I'm so grateful I got into PT school. Even if I'm still applying, man, I'm so grateful I got this pen to freaking write this essay or write my application.
Truth.
Hey, it's just so crazy how things shift. If you just use that small strategy, however cliche it sounds, that thing works. So if you feel like you're drowning, even if it, you know, usually is 3 feet of water or 3 feet of whatever, use that simple strategy of gratitude, figure out what you're drowning in. Hey, stand up. We got you. We're here. If you need a hand, we'll help you swim along, you know, walk along that path. But in all honesty, you'll get through it. You will. Just stand up. Stand up. So use it. Use that gratitude.
We 100% believe in you. There's no reason for us to come on camera all the time. There's no reason for us to drop podcasts all the time. There's no reason for us to get on calls and invest so much into you if we don't believe in you. Pre-PT students are literally where really everything in the profession is going. And if we don't invest in you, then I don't know many people that would do it at this level. And it's because we just love seeing pre-PTs win, but more so we just love seeing where pre-PTs will be going, which is you and your future. And one of the biggest things that you can learn right now is how to stand up in that 3 feet of water. If you can figure that out, then I can tell you right now that there are numerous thousands of clinicians that don't know how to do that don't know how to figure out how to get their footing when they're sliding and drowning, that don't know how I mean, you'll see it manifested in just burnout and frustration and, you know, like this level of dissatisfaction with what PT looks like. But Casey just hit it. Casey just said the whole thing is, one, coming to it and coming into it with such a high level of gratitude for absolutely everything that you've been given, that completely changes your outlook. That's the goggles that you're looking through. That's the goggles. But then now realizing that now, okay, so I'm drowning. I have to figure out who can help me out of this. Who can help me stand up? Who can help me figure out how to put one foot in front of the other and stand myself up out of this 3 feet of water? Who has my point B? If you're grateful, just be very grateful for absolutely everything. When you didn't pass your GRE, be grateful that you had the opportunity to even drive to that GRE. You had the opportunity to even prepare for that GRE. When you didn't get accepted into PT school, the fact that you had the opportunity to actually go at it again, actually fight for something you want. How many times do we go, you know, like smooth sailing through classes and, feeling like we did pretty well in undergrad, and then, come through this process like, man, but I was a smart student, but I have a 3.7 GPA, but I got this, that, and the other. Like, why am I taking it a second time? Why my classmates get their GR? Okay, cool. Well, maybe it's your first time to actually figure out what you're willing to fight for and put in some work for. So be grateful for the opportunity to actually put in work for what you want. Be grateful. When you don't get accepted into a program, well, be grateful, because that might have not been the program for you. That might have not been the program where you are meant to serve, where you are meant to meet the right classmates for you to actually end up being where you need to be. 3 of the closest friends that I had all throughout my journey, especially when I was in physical therapy school, were people that I met because of the school that I went to. I could have gone to any other school. I could have gone to a school where I didn't have to shovel snow during the winter. Like, it was cold like freaking 7 months out of the year. Does that make sense? But because I went there, good things happened. So be grateful. I mean, heck, my fiance was supposed to go to a completely different school in Washington State. Last minute, something changed up literally within like days/weeks. Something changed up. Her best friend ends up going to the university that I was at. So she switches her whole plans and doesn't go to Washington, comes to Andrews University in Bering Springs, Michigan. I get to meet her, and I'm going to be marrying her in a few months. Gratitude. She didn't want that. Oh, what's up, Eliana? Hey, she saw it. You see, I've been talking about you, girl. Hey. No,
I wonder how many people have that story, though. Yeah. That's such a good point.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, just be grateful. Be grateful. Be grateful, and then figure out who has my point B. Who has it? If you have listened to this whole thing, and if you have not, go and listen to the whole thing again when we finish this. But if you have listened to this whole thing and you're saying, I have been drowning, I'm listening and I'm like, yo, I have been drowning. We've given you the key to stop drowning. At this point, if you're still drowning, it's your choice. You've made the choice. It's not anybody else. It's no longer your mother. It's no longer your father. It's no longer your classmates. They can't be to blame. It's not PT Cast, even when they tripping sometimes. It's not the programs you're applying to. It's not your advisor. It's not your teacher. It's not your best friend. It's not your employer. It's none of them. It's you. Only you can stand up. The reason when we are drowning in 3 feet of water, the only person that can stand up is us. If anybody else stands up for us, we keep drowning. You're the only person that can stand up. And that's it. If you can figure that out, man, I don't know what can stop you. I don't know what can stop you. I can tell you right now, I mean, my fiance is watching right now. She just commented. She already know. There's a lot of drowning that I did as an undergrad, as a pre-PT, as a PT student, even as a clinician to begin with. There's a lot of drowning that I did. And even in those scenarios, even when I was drowning, she knows. Like, I got into, like, I got in my head pretty heavily. A lot. About my second year of PT school, I've said it. My second year of PT school, I sat her down. I was like, yo, I feel like I took somebody else's seat. I'm not meant to be in this program. Imposter syndrome, where you just don't feel like you belong in the particular program that you are in. I was drowning, and I almost let myself just go. Like, I almost just gave up. Now, if I gave up, what does it look like, Joseph? What does it look like if Joseph gives up and keeps drowning? Well, Joseph and Casey keep talking about, in the future, you have patients waiting for you. Okay, let me paint for you a picture of what it looks like. Well, first of all, second year of PT school, if I pull the plug, what does that look like for me? Well, it looks like me not going into a profession that I actually have passion about. So my level of happiness, and I'm a pretty hype person, like, my level of happiness goes downhill. 2, there's a good chance that the amount of care that I would have been able to pour into my fiance would have gone down as well, because my level of satisfaction with life would have also diminished. She would have been very supportive, but it would have affected a lot of things. Number 3, I'm in the clinic right now where I work, where I'm the clinical director. I don't get to be here right now. Number 4, I don't get to be in Florida currently. Number 5, I don't get to be one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind. Number 6, I don't get to be on this call with you, really pouring life into you and just giving you the level of encouragement that we just want you to have. I don't get to get on the calls, on the 7 calls I got on yesterday with pre-PTs. I don't get to get on the power calls that had right before this call and the one I have right after this call with pre-physical therapy students that are passionate, that are fighting, that are frustrated because I wasn't willing to stand up in my own 3 feet of water. You stopping yourself from drowning affects too many people for you to keep drowning. So you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. So if you're drowning, 1, be grateful. Don't be grateful for the drowning. Be grateful for everything around you, and that actually changes the binoculars by which you're looking through. And then number 2, figure out who has your point B. If you figure that out, then just follow exactly what they did. Listen to them. Seek their counsel, because many times we're looking at too many different people, too many different voices that just drown out our ability to actually learn how to put one foot in front of the other and stand up out of the water and stop drowning. I had to figure it out, and so do you. So like we said, if you have any questions, reach out to us at contactpreptgrind.com. We'll be more than happy to just talk to you, interact with you, help you in any way possible. But really, at this point, let there just not be any more excuses for whether drowning is acceptable or not. Now, will it be hard? Will there be times where you kind of revert back to those feelings? Well, of course. I had plenty of those. The fact that I stopped drowning during my 2nd year PT school doesn't mean I stopped drowning again. It happened again later that year. It happened again in my 3rd year. It happened during this 1st year of being a physical therapist. The challenges just vary. But the clues, success leaves clues. The clues are always the same. And the more you do that, the better you get at it. And the more now you're able to help other people who are in the same situation, other people who are struggling, other people who are drowning. And that's how you stop drowning as a pre-PT. So we hope you found this valuable. Once again, reach out to us at contactpreptgrind.com if you have any questions. And we'll be more than happy to serve you and take care of you. Have a great rest of your evening. Many blessings, and see you next week.